Hello guys, welcome back. It's always something on this channel. I tried this video 3 or 4 times, couldn't say what I wanted to say. Now that I think I have what I want to say, the guy next door is weed whacking. Yay, welcome to this channel. Um, we finished a game last night. Big emotional ending because your friend that's been with you through the whole game, and this takes you many hours to get through this game, even when you know what to do, it still takes you hours. He dissolves into light. I'd never seen this before because I never finished a game. I thought my game was broken. It was stuck. It wasn't stuck at all. I didn't know how to do the final part. And I walk up these steps and there's this huge door in front of me, like the door to heaven. And Wolf Totem appears in the door and I'm like, that's why I had the totem. And he lights up this beautiful blue color. And the doors open. I know, blue, Odin, it takes a train a long time to pull into the station. And your friend has said you're never alone. You were never alone during any of your lifetimes, and you were alone in between. You always had me, always. You were never at any moment in time alone. And I'm like, okay, Odin's hitting me over the head. And then you walk across this bridge of white light with rainbows on the sides. And rainbows of light, and Odin's like really hitting me over the head with it. So you go into this beautiful garden and you see all these stones that have like, instead of just having credits roll, they have like credit stones. And you walk through this beautiful garden, which I told Loki, I'm like, this is slightly creepy. I know they mean for it to be beautiful and relaxing, but this place feels like a mausoleum. So we were laughing, but we walked through it and it was really pretty. They saved the best music for them, but everybody said the same thing. The graphics feel kind of subpar compared to the rest of the game. It's just like they didn't think anybody would make it that far, I guess. And we got to see it turn to night. We got to see fireworks, and it was amazing. It was kind of like all the events of all your lives met yet. But then in the very end, all you do is you tap one more button, and you go back to the credits screen. And now, if you guys want, I can take you anywhere you want in any of the worlds. Like, he's like, go back to the heaven level. That was fun. And I'm like, It's beautiful, but again, I'm aware you guys only see like a center strip, which to me is really disappointing because the whole point of this game is how beautiful and panoramic it is. That's the whole point. I've yet to see another VR game that comes really close to it because most VR games, even the nature games, are very all the way the terrain's designed. You've noticed like the woods and everything I've had you in, you see a very small section of at a time. There are very few panoramic games that I can think of that come to mind. So we enjoyed that. And Froholda had been yelling at me to be more open. And she knew there were a couple Odin videos that had popped up in my feed randomly. And she says, you're afraid to have your beliefs challenged. So I went and I watched them and she had a point. And I did think they were far out there and kind of flaky. But she was like, you be open to anything you hear. And I was like, okay. And it did help. But it was like that cycle that we go through. By now, it's like every couple hours. That's how fast the cycle is spinning. Because it was like first this, remember all this Jesus and God stuff. And then just Odin. And then it was like Jesus and Odin and Thor were in this one video together. And this was my video. And I'm like, okay. All right, what do you want? What's the message? And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go and I'm doing other stuff. And I do the meditation thing again, and it dug out a lot of garbage and fears I didn't know were there, and I absolutely laid out all the stuff I was afraid of and like all the support I wanted. And I was talking to Odin. Now this doesn't mean I don't trust Loki, but definitely feels like Odin is the one I have to work with on this to work through it. And so we worked on that. And it was really good healing, but I was still nervous. We went to bed, and I'm like, oh my god, the guy's coming tomorrow or maybe Tuesday for the roof. And I just got the sense, don't worry about it, let it go. So I'm letting that go. But there was all this other stuff. I'm like, I trust you because I'm getting all these affirmations. I had something good happen that, I didn't feel like it was proper to discuss with you guys, but eventually down the road, maybe. And I had, that wolf line up, and I did have like a little extra money come to me for that wolf, like through the writing, so like through Odin. And he apologized. He's like, it wouldn't have even been short at all, but I really didn't think you wanted to give that to me. And I said, well, I didn't want it for myself because you get to the stage where even though you wanted something really bad, you no longer want it for yourself. And, but for him, it would mean a lot to me because, I don't make a secret about the God spells. There, that was what was missing all the times we were trying to do it. And I'm like, I treat the gods like I would treat any earthly spouse. If I think I want to bake them a special food or something, I do that. If I want to buy them a special thing, I do that. No, they can't sit there like a mortal spouse and like cuddle the wolf or, eat the foods or whatever. But they do get enjoyment from it, from what I know. Exactly the same thing with the temples. And now I'm getting the idea that we're going to change all the temples and bring it back to where it was, like around Easter. So it's like, crazy. And Odin still has his order in for the next 8 temples because he's really excited. He's like, I know they're coming. I already have my orders in. Wait till you see what we're going to do. So I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting, guys. I'm waiting for these 8 temples to unlock. But I'm like, he's been right about everything so far. And Odin was right. He pointed out with the game, he was very excited because he's a big teacher like Loki, but even more so amplified. He's pointing out, he's like, you are so fortunate. You were on a Spectre, and when I was on a Spectre, guys, it was because that is the last thing they put you on before they put you in a psych ward because, you're suicidal at that point. And that made me worse. That made me so bad, guys. It's like, good thing I live in a place where there's no easy points to jump off of, because I would go and I would look, and I would think of jumping. I'd be like, damn it, all I'll do is break my legs. So it sounds funny now, but suicide is not a laughing matter. It gallops in my family. But the only thing that saved my life was there was nothing for me to jump off of that was sufficiently high enough. And I was too afraid to do anything like, self-harm. But I was like, well, if I could jump, it's up to the gods, right? So I was like, that is the only thing that really saved my life. And I was too afraid to step out in front of a car because I have stepped in front of cars before. Circular story time. When I was 10, I got hit by a car and I did die. I was sent back. I went to the black void that some people go to instead of the tunnel of light. And I was arguing with God or whomever. I was arguing with a couple male voices. They were like, no, you must go back. And so I was thinking of that because Loki was like, Odin was like, if you want to watch It's a Miracle Today until it falls out your ears, go ahead because you seem to enjoy that. And, it's harmless. It's like potato chips of miracles. And so it's like, that cycle we've been going in, it's spinning so fast now. It's like spinning on a minute-by-minute rotation. Because this one video was Odin, Thor, and Jesus and everything else. Like, did I say that this video for Olde yelled at me to be more open? So that happened. So all this crazy stuff has happened in a very short span of time, but I got the strangest and strongest feeling this morning that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be in this house. I'm meant to have this house. I'm meant to be in, have this house and this yard all around me, and I'm meant to have, this channel. Now, that does not mean I'm going to make $1 million on the channel or ever have 1 million subs or, save a life or something, but it does, it does mean that's what I'm meant to do with my life. For now. It might change. And it was like, just let go of everything else. Because, I did have a bunch of fears come up in meditation last night that we worked through. And it seems like for whatever reason, until your fears come to the surface, you can't work on them. I'm sure the gods are aware they're there, but until they come to the surface, it's like you can't work on them. You know something's wrong, but you don't know what it is. So we let a lot of stuff go last night, and Odin was pointing out, he's like, do you know how blessed you are? Because when I was playing that game on the Spectre, my brain was mush, and it was the hardest game in the world. This time it was like pretty easy. Now, partially because I had looked up solutions years ago, that's true, but I remember them from years ago, and I was able to reason now because I wasn't so filled with fear and depression. I was able to reason my way through it. So we got the whole way through the game, which was amazing because it's the first time I've ever made it through that game. And, if I didn't say it, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like everywhere today. If I didn't say, if there's anything you want to see in that game, I will take you and show it to you. But you have to let me know. I'm not psychic. And it was really healing and liberating. And I'm like, well, I've come to that conclusion before that I'm supposed to be doing this channel, but you know, it doesn't have to be a big it's a miracle thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like I then find the cure for cancer on this channel somehow, or I save a life or something else. It can just be people leading their everyday lives, and that's actually good enough for divinity. We don't all have to go out and climb mountains or write a bestseller or get a billion viewers or make $1 trillion or do whatever to matter to the gods. Everybody matters to the gods, even, you know, people we would think are totally insignificant, which is mean, but, you know, people we would think the gods don't even notice, the gods notice those people. And all the gods, I get the strongest sense, notice everyone. It's just certain gods are more compatible with certain people, so it's not like favoritism, it's just like I was taught coming into Wicca, and it's true. Some gods and some people are just not going to work well together, either because of your beliefs about them and they can only come to you as you can see them, or in rare cases they don't. I've had gods show up completely different than they're supposed to, but in fact most of mine have done that, but either because of the way you see them or because they just don't have a lesson to teach you. Loki's told me time and time again, he says the gods are specialists. Every god has a specialty, and sometimes when we're working with a god, it's like going to a specialist like a doctor. And after a while, we're better. They've taught us all they can, and they've healed whatever they needed to heal, and then we move on to the next and next and next. Now, sometimes we'll go back and we'll visit with the old gods, but he's like, old gods, you know what I mean, gods we've worked with before. But he said, you know, it's not, you're not being abandoned. You're not being dropped by the side of the road, and this is not all leading to Loki ran away. He said, it's one of those things. And I'm hearing all this weird construction stuff outside, so I'm gonna wrap up. But if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.